Just wanted to do a quick video to talk to you just a little about my first book. I know my second book just came out, but the first one, Ryder and the Crystal Seed, is actually a second edition, and wanted to just do a bit of a video to say why I rewrote the beginning of it. The book got a fresh edit. Basically, I don't know how to use a comma, okay? So I got some great help from that from a really good friend, Mary, who really helped fix most of the commas in the book, and then it got a fresh edit from a pro editor, Elizabeth, who is just phenomenal, and she fixed a whole bunch more commas and a whole bunch of other stuff too, some technical things that not every reader would necessarily pick up, but really indebted to her for that. And then I decided to rewrite the opening chapter. Nothing, don't worry, nothing major changed. If you have read the book and you're like, oh, I like the first chapter, I didn't change anything too major, but I want to explain a little bit as to why I changed that first chapter of this first book. The first thing was I've been learning a lot about writing and a lot about the opening of books, and one of the things that I've been learning is to try to get to the action of the story as quickly as possible in the book. So what's moving the action forward? And in the original first edition of Ryder and the Crystal Seed, the story opens and the kids, the main characters in the story, are playing a game, but the game is basically unrelated to the rest of the story. So what happens in the opening chapter, basically they're playing a game, and then the priest of the church, they're playing in a churchyard, the priest of the church shows up, and then they all scatter, and then Dell finds something that kind of sets the story in motion in the hiding place that she hides in. So what I did in the opening chapter now is basically cut out the opening game, so we don't know what the kids are playing. It just starts out with the priest showing up, and I'm going to read you just a little bit of it just so you can hear the new beginning. But I want to tell you about the old beginning because I really liked the scene, but I'll tell you why it was in the original book, and partly another reason why I cut it out. So it was actually a nostalgic reason for myself why the original scene was there. So the kids are actually playing a game of guns. So they've got pieces of wood and they're pretending to shoot one another. But the way the original story was framed was that Dell it said that she was about to witness a standoff, and then it went and described somebody inching along the wall of the church holding his weapon and taking aim at his enemy. And if you didn't really know anything about the book, you might read it and think, oh, so this is about a girl who's about to witness somebody pulling a gun on somebody else. And I decided I didn't really like the implication of that in the book, so I decided this maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago. And so decided I would take that out completely, all the references there. The reason that was originally in there was because when I was a kid, there was kind of two games that we played with some of the kids in our neighborhood. And one was guns and the other was swords. And so basically you had pieces of wood and you were either pretending to shoot each other from a distance, or you had a different piece of wood and you were pretending to play swords. I don't know if anybody else did that, but that's what we did when we were kids, and I just put it in my book because that's what we did. I don't see a lot of kids playing those things these days. That's probably a good thing. I also kind of think that, I just didn't really want that at the beginning of the book anymore. I just kind of pictured parents reading the first few paragraphs, people who don't necessarily know me and know that that's not really what the book is about, maybe reading those first few sentences and thinking, oh, I don't know if I want my child to read this, and I wouldn't blame them for that if they thought that at all. So I just thought, I'm going to take that right out of here completely, and then just tightened up the beginning, tightened up some of the language to make it maybe a little more engaging. So if you liked the original, sorry, I changed it just a bit. It doesn't change the plot in any way. This is the new opening, here we go, of Ryder and the Crystal Seed. The old priest came wandering through the cemetery. His appearance was always their signal to break off whatever game they were playing in the churchyard and scatter. Ryder went one way, Phil, Guy, and Sam the other. Dell jumped a fence and ran alongside the hedge on the south side of the cemetery. 20 seconds of running, and she knew that she should have followed Phil like the others had. The priest must have cut across the cemetery back towards the church, because he was right in line with where Dell was headed. As the priest's head turned in Dell's direction, she dove toward the hedge. She spied a sparse section that none of them had ever noticed before, and sure enough, there was an opening just large enough for her to fit through. Dell crawled through the opening and found that she didn't come out on the other side of the hedge. Rather, she was inside it, in the perfect hiding spot. She crawled as far as she could before hitting a wall of branches, and then she stayed as still as she could. She felt a cold, smooth gravestone beneath her. Dell wasn't thrilled with the idea of being on top of it, but she dared not move right away, since she didn't know the exact location of the priest. As her eyes adjusted to the dim light under the hedge, she read an old inscription on the stone. At the top was the word Blythe, and underneath it 1875 to 1889. Dell knew in less than a second that whoever Blythe was, he had died at age 14. If she wasn't creeped out enough lying on top of someone's grave, now it was worse. He was a kid like her when he died, just 3 years her senior. She looked around and realized that although the opening into the hedge was small, inside it was spacious, almost as if some woodland creature had made its home there. She got up on her knees and listened for footsteps. She couldn't hear anything. Maybe the priest had moved on. Dell thought about leaving to go find her friends. Most likely they were laying low in one of their usual spots. This is way better than anywhere they usually hide, Dell thought. Not even Sam would find me here, and Sam always finds the best hiding places. As she edged forward a little, attempting to look through the thick branches, out of the corner of her eye she noticed what looked like a small piece of bottle green glass embedded in the ground beside Blythe's stone. Dell reached for the object with 2 fingers. As soon as she made contact with the glass, it flashed with a deep glowing light. She quickly pulled her hand away, shocked. The glow disappeared. Tentatively, Dell brought her hand back over the glass. She touched it again, and the same deep flash of light appeared. What was that? How could a piece of glass light up like that? Even without a piece of magic glass, Dell would have wanted to show her friends this hiding spot. She was determined to find them and bring them back to the gravestone and the glass. Crouching, she parted a few of the branches and looked out from her cover. There was no sign of the priest, so she crawled out from under the hedge and headed into the churchyard toward the place where the boys were most likely to have hidden. And from there on, it's basically the same. So that's the new opening scene of Dell Ryder and the Crystal If you head over to my website, it's mattbruff.com. There's actually, if you sign up for my mailing list, I will send you updates and let you know about different things that are going on or when books are coming out, things like that, or other things that I might be writing. And I'm thinking about maybe writing some other stuff besides fiction, or just anything that's going on. I might send, like I sent out a couple of early chapters to my mailing list of the second book before it came out. So people got a chance to read the first chapter early. They'll be the first to see covers. The other thing that I do is I've written a couple of short stories, which are actually in a series. So it's a serial that builds on one another. I think I've written 2 so far, and it's actually characters from Dell Ryder, but it's previous. It's some of the Lumen characters, the creatures that live in the world that they go to in Asdia. So that's called The Adventures of Crimson and Hollow, and it's for slightly younger kids, but there's adults. It's just meant to be a fun kind of story, but it does have little snippets or little hints of things that might be helpful in understanding the world of Asdia. And also there's a couple of things when you read book 2, if you've read what are basically prequels in the short story serials, then you kind of get to know a little more. So if you sign up for my mailing list, you'll get an email that says please confirm, and you have to click. Once you click, you will automatically get the short stories. They're available for, like, I think the first one is available for 99 cents as well, and some people have bought it, but you can get it for free just by going to my website and signing up. So you can do that. If you liked Dell Ryder and the Crystal Seed and you think others should read it, please recommend it to them, or like or share this video. Again, they can get it for free. And thanks for watching this, and I will catch you later, I hope. So thanks for watching.